You were taught to fill silence. When someone asks you a question, you answer immediately. When someone challenges you, you explain yourself. When someone withdraws attention, you reach out to fix it. You are conditioned to believe that silence makes you rude, cold, and unavailable. Responding quickly makes you valuable. That being open and accessible makes you likable. You were wrong. Let me show you exactly where this breaks down. You send a message. They read it. No response. 2 hours later, you send another. Hey, just checking in. You are managing their silence. They are not managing yours. You are the one who broke. At work, someone questions your decision in front of others. You immediately explain your reasoning, defend your process, and justify your choice. You think you are being transparent. You are actually handing them your authority. They asked the question. You provided the answer. They controlled the interaction. You accepted their frame. Or this. A woman you have been seeing suddenly pulls back. Texts get shorter tone shifts. You ask what is wrong. You try to talk it through. You offer reassurance. You think you are being emotionally intelligent. You are being predictable. You entered her court. You started playing her game. You made yourself the one who needs resolution. In every single scenario, you were trained to fill the gap, to smooth over tension, to keep things comfortable. You were raised to be useful, obedient, agreeable, responsive, not powerful. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He knew that the one who reacts is the one who is being controlled. That silence is not absence, it is presence without submission. That's when you refuse to fill the void. You stop being a fixed variable in someone else's equation. You become unpredictable, unmanageable, dangerous. This script will walk you through several irreversible power shifts, not theories, mechanisms, real psychological warfare that plays out every single day in your relationships, your workplace, your social life. Most of you will leave before this ends. You will feel uncomfortable. You will think this is too cold, too calculating, too harsh. That is your conditioning talking. If you stay, you separate. You will never see interaction the same way again. Put your phone face down and listen. If this hit you, write "I am the strategist" once in the comments, just to mark the day your mindset changed. Now let me show you what silence actually does. You stop replying instantly. You let hours pass. Sometimes a whole day, not because you are playing games, because you are busy, because your attention is not a public utility. The other person does not know this. They only know you used to respond within minutes. Now you do not. That gap creates a question. They start filling it themselves. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset? Are they losing interest? Did I lose value? Every single one of those thoughts is them managing you in their head. You are not even present. You are still controlling the frame. You did nothing. You just stopped doing what they expected you to do. This is the first shift. Silence turns you into a moving variable. They cannot predict you. They cannot predict you. They cannot place you. When people can predict your behavior, they stop respecting it. They start managing it. You become furniture. Reliable, expected, boring. When you become unpredictable, you become a problem they have to solve. Problems command attention. Furniture does not. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. He did not mean cruelty. He meant respect through uncertainty. When people cannot anticipate your response, they treat you more carefully. They weigh their words. They do not test you casually. When they know precisely how you will react, they constantly test you. Because there is no risk. You have a friend who always asks for favors, rides, money, time, help moving. You always say yes. You think you are being a good friend. You are actually teaching them that your boundaries do not exist. One day you say no, no explanation, just no. They react emotionally. They accuse you of changing, of being cold, of not being there for them anymore. What they are really saying is this: you stopped being controllable. You used to be a fixed point. Now you are not. That terrifies them because they build part of their life on your predictability. Here is what you missed. They were never asking, they were taking. You were never giving, you were complying. The moment you stop complying, the dynamic reveals itself. They do not want your friendship, they want your utility. Silence and refusal expose that instantly. If someone only values you when you are helpful, they do not value you, they value the service. You are in a meeting, someone challenges your idea. Everyone looks at you. The old version of you jumps in, defends the idea, explains the reasoning, tries to win them over. You think you are being confident, you are being reactive. The moment you defend, you accept their frame, you agree that their challenge has merit. It's true that you deserve a response, that you need to justify yourself to them. The shift is this: you stay quiet, you let the challenge sit in the air, you look at them, you do not look away, you do not fidget, you do not smile to soften the tension, you just hold the space. 5 seconds, 10, the room gets uncomfortable. They start adding words, clarifying, softening, backtracking. They broke, not you. You did not argue, you did not defend. You made them feel the weight of their own challenge. Now they are the one who has to manage the silence. You flipped the frame without saying a word. Machiavelli understood that the appearance of power is often more effective than power itself. You do not need to win the argument. You need to make it clear that you are not participating in one. The moment you argue, you are equals. The moment you go silent, you are above it. They are trying to pull you into their reality. You refused entry. That refusal is dominance. Here is the part that makes people uncomfortable. This works in relationships too. A woman tests you. She says something designed to provoke a reaction. Maybe she mentions another man. Maybe criticize something you did. Maybe she withdraws warmth to see if you chase it. The average man reacts immediately. He reassures her. He explains himself. He tries to fix her mood. He thinks he is being attentive. He is being trained. You go silent instead. Not angry, not cold, just quiet. You let her words hang there. You do not rush to comfort her. You do not manage her emotions. You let her sit in the tension she created. She will test again. She will push harder. She is checking if you will break. If you do, she learns she can control you with emotional withdrawal. If you do not, she knows her moods do not manage you, that you have a frame she cannot enter without being invited. This is not cruelty. This is boundary enforcement. Most men think setting boundaries means announcing them, explaining them, and justifying them. That is not a boundary. That is negotiation. A real boundary is something you enforce in silence. You do not explain why you are not responding. You just do not respond. You do not justify why you said no. You just say no. The moment you explain, you open the door to debate. Silence closes it. You notice something else. The people who respect you most are the ones you have gone silent on, at least once. The ones who pushed, who tested, who assumed you would always be available, and then you were not. They remember that. They do not mention it, but they remember you showed them you could withdraw, that your presence is not guaranteed, that you have an edge they did not see before. Now they approach you differently. They do not test as much. They do not assume. They ask, not demand. This is leverage, not the kind you talk about, the kind you demonstrate. You stop being the person who always shows up, who always replies, who always explains. You become the person who might. That uncertainty is what creates respect. Certainty creates comfort. Comfort creates contempt. People do not respect what they can predict. You have been in conversations where someone is clearly lying, exaggerating, or manipulating the narrative. The instinct is to call it out, to correct them, to set the record straight. You think you are standing up for the truth. You are actually stepping into their game. The moment you correct them, you validate that their version mattered enough to challenge. You gave it weight. You made it a topic of debate. Silence does something different. You let them talk. You do not nod. You disagree. You do not argue, you just listen with a blank face. They keep talking, they add details, they over-explain, they start sounding less convincing the more they say, because they are trying to convince you and your silence is not giving them feedback. They do not know if you believe them. That uncertainty makes them spiral. They defeat themselves. You did not have to say a word. Machiavelli knew that people reveal themselves when they are unsure of where they stand. Silence creates that uncertainty. It removes your position from the board. They cannot argue with you. They cannot manipulate you. They cannot read you. All they can do is react to the absence of reaction, and in that reaction they show you exactly who they are. You start to notice a pattern. The people who demand your energy the most are the ones who give the least. They text you constantly. They need your opinion, your validation, your time. But when you need something, they are busy. They are vague. They do not show up the same way. You were operating at a loss the entire time. You thought you were being a good friend, a good partner, a good colleague. You were being a resource. Silence reveals this instantly. You stop initiating. You stop being available on demand. You stop filling their gaps. If they do not notice, you have your answer. If they reach out only when they need something, you have your answer. If they get upset that you are not as available as before, you definitely have your answer. They were not valuing your presence. They were depending on your compliance. This is the part most people cannot handle. It feels cold. It feels like you are testing people. You are not testing anyone. You are just stopping the performance. You were the one doing all the work to keep the relationship going. You were the one managing their emotions, their needs, their expectations. You stopped. The relationship did not survive without your effort. That means it was never mutual. You were holding it up alone. Here is what happens when you go silent in a social group. You stop being the one who always has something to say, who always laughs at the jokes, who always agrees with the group consensus. You just observe, you listen. You do not contribute unless you actually have something to say. At first, people do not notice. Then they do. Someone will ask why you are so quiet. You do not explain. You just smile or shrug. They will push. They will try to pull you back in. They want you to return to the role you played before, the role that made them comfortable. You do not return. You stay quiet. Here is what happens next. People start valuing your words more. When you do speak, they listen harder because you do not talk often. You are not filling the air. You are not performing. When you say something, it carries weight. This is the economics of attention. Scarcity creates value. Abundance creates noise. You were abundant. Now you are scarce. That shift changes how people treat you. Machiavelli understood that the prince who is always available is never feared. He is taken for granted. His power becomes expected. His presence becomes routine. The prince who appears selectively, speaks rarely, and moves without announcement is respected because no one knows when he will act, or how, or why. That unpredictability is protection. You apply this at work. You stop being the person who always volunteers, who always stays late, who always says yes to extra projects. You become selective. You say no without apology. You do not explain why. You just say you are unavailable. Your manager pushes back. You hold the line. No long explanation. No guilt. Just a boundary. They are frustrated because you used to be manageable. Now you are not. Here is what happens next. They start respecting your time more. They stop assuming you will pick up the slack. They stop dumping work on you at the last minute because you showed them you can say no, that you have leverage, that you are not afraid to use it. This is frame control at the highest level. You are not arguing about workload. You are not complaining about fairness. You are just enforcing a boundary in silence. No discussion, no debate, just enforcement. That is power. Most people talk about boundaries. Influential people demonstrate them. You are dating someone. Early on, you are very available. You text throughout the day. You make time whenever she asks. You are present, engaged, and interested. She starts pulling back. Texts get colder. She cancels plans. She becomes vague about when she is free. The average man panics. He tries harder. He texts more. He asks what is wrong. He offers reassurance. He thinks he is showing investment. He is showing dependence. You go quiet instead. You stop initiating. You stop asking when she is free. You do not chase her attention. You let the distance sit. Days pass. She notices. She reaches out. You respond, but not immediately, not with the same energy you had before. You are calm. You are polite, but you are not chasing. She tests again. She throws a minor complaint, something designed to make you react. You do not. You stay neutral. She is confused now because the script changed. She expected you to chase. You did not. She expected you to explain yourself. You did not. Now she is the one wondering where she stands. This is the inversion. She was managing the frame. She was controlling the pace, the energy, the dynamic. You were reacting to her. The moment you went silent, you stopped playing her game. You removed yourself from her control. Now she has to decide. Does she want you in or out? Because you are no longer convincing her. You are just existing at a distance. That distance creates fear. Fear that she miscalculated, that she pulled back too far, that you will not come back. Machiavelli would tell you this. The one who needs the relationship least controls it. Silence is how you prove you need it less, not by saying it, by showing it. You do not argue. You do not negotiate. You just step back. That step back is a power move most men never make. Because it feels like losing, it is actually winning. Here is the brutal part. Most of your relationships are built on your availability, not your value. People got used to you being there. They started treating your presence like a guarantee, like a right. You let them. You thought being dependable was a strength. It is only a strength if it is respected. If it is expected, it is a weakness, because expectation removes gratitude. You are no longer appreciated. You are assumed. Silence breaks that assumption. You stop being a constant. You become a variable. People do not know if you will show up, if you will respond, if you will engage. That uncertainty reintroduces respect, because now they have to earn your presence. They have to maintain your interest. You are no longer guaranteed, you are conditional. That conditionality is what makes you valuable again. You see this everywhere once you understand it. The friend who always replies is the one who gets ignored. The employee who always says yes is the one who gets overworked. The man who always chases is the one who gets strung along. The pattern is identical. Over-availability creates undervaluation. Scarcity creates demand. You were taught the opposite. You were taught that being there for people is noble, that being reliable is strong, that being open is healthy. All of that is true only if the other side reciprocates. If they do not, you are not being noble. You are being used. Silence is how you find out which one it is. This is not about cutting people off. This is not about being cold for the sake of being cold. This is about recalibrating. You stop giving energy to people who do not return it. You stop filling the silence for people who would not fill it for you. You stop explaining yourself to people who would never explain themselves to you. You are not being cruel. You are being equal, and equality feels like cruelty to people who are used to you giving more. Machiavelli wrote that men judge more by their eyes than by their hands. They see what you appear to be. They rarely touch what you truly are. Your silence changes what they see. They stop seeing someone who needs their approval, someone who needs their attention, someone who needs resolution. They start seeing someone who exists independently, who does not require their validation, who is comfortable in the absence of their presence. That image is threatening because it suggests you have options. You have standards. You have boundaries. You stop posting on social media for a while. No explanation, no announcement. You just stop. People who rarely interacted with you suddenly reach out. They ask if you are okay, if something happened. You are fine. You are always fine. But your silence made them think, made them wonder, made them notice your absence. That absence created presence. You were more visible by being invisible because people started looking for you rather than scrolling past you. This applies to every domain: work, relationships, friendships, family, social circles. The mechanism is the same. Silence removes you from their map. They have to recalculate. They have to adjust. They have to come to you instead of assuming you will go to them. That shift is psychological dominance. You did not fight for it. You did not argue for it. You just stopped participating in the old pattern. The new pattern formed around your absence. You will lose people in this process. People who were only there because you made it easy. People who valued your utility, not your character. People who never respected you, just got comfortable with you. When you go silent, they do not fight to keep you. They just move on. That is the filter. Those people were dead weight. They were costing you energy, time, and dignity. You were subsidizing relationships that had no foundation. Silence exposed that. It did not create the problem. It revealed it. The people who stay are the ones who notice. Those who reach out not because they need something, but because they value you. Who respects the boundary. Those who do not punish you for having one. Those are the relationships worth keeping. Everyone else was a transaction. Silence is the audit. If this hit you, write "I am the strategist" once in the comments just to mark the day your mindset changed. You do not need to announce this shift. You do not need to explain to people why you are different now. You just are. You stop filling gaps. You stop over-explaining. You stop being available on demand. You stop managing other people's emotions. You stop seeking approval. You stop performing. You exist. You observe. You move when it serves you. You speak when it matters. Everything else is silence. That silence is not weakness. It is a refusal. Refusal to play games you did not agree to. Refusal to accept frames you did not choose. Refusal to give power to people who never earned it. You are not being cold. You are being sovereign. You are reclaiming territory you gave away without realizing it. Machiavelli would recognize you now. You are no longer the person who reacts. You are the person others respond to. You are no longer being managed. You are unmanageable. You are no longer a fixed variable. You are a moving one, and that makes you dangerous in the best possible way. This is who you are now, not who you are trying to be. Who you are. The shift already happened. You just have to stop pretending it did not. Silence is your weapon. Distance is your leverage. Scarcity is your value. You do not explain this to anyone. You just live it, and they feel it, and they adjust. Or they leave. Either way, you win. If this landed, leave a like. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you want more. You already know what to do. Write "I am the strategist" one time in the comments. Mark this moment. You are not the same person who started this video. Stay silent. Stay moving. Stay dangerous.